What's up, you guys? Sports News Chicago here again with a third part in my Bulls off-season analysis, and I'll be talking about uh, what I think the Bulls should do free agency wise. This is just free agency. Keep that in mind. Um, so there's been multiple uh, talks about the Bulls acquiring some players such as O.J. Mayo, Courtney Lee, uh, Nick Young, but Nick Young too late for that, and even Delonte West and J.R. Smith and just all those guys. So I'm gonna be talking about options they could have to fill spots in their roster. I'm actually kind of surprised that people have been ignoring players such as Michael Petras, Carlos Delfino, and Gerald Green for a large part. And I could also throw in C.J. Miles, but there has been small amounts of talks about him. When you don't talk about a player like Michael Petras, who's a lockdown defender who can create his own shot, I think there's a problem. He's probably one of the most underrated three-point shooters in the NBA. He knocks those down left and right. If you watch him play, he's got one of the nicest strokes too. He's everything that Kyle Korver is. Not as good as a shooter, but he's, he can do the same things, plus a slashing ability and an ability to play on-ball defense. Another cheap option would be Marquise Daniels, I don't know how to pronounce his name. But that guy was supposed to be great, but enough about, don't worry about that. But he can defend and he can slash. Two things that we need on this team. He can cut to the basket and he can get those passes. Probably one of the best on-ball defenders in the league once again. Gerald Green. If Gerald Green was on our team, I'd say free agency success, we're done. Because that guy can hit the three ball, he can slam it down, as everybody knows. That sick windmill, or was it? Yeah, windmill off the alley-oop, windmill 180, I don't know what it was. But, yeah, he's athletic. He's only 26. He hasn't got that much miles on him, and he can play some defense. He'd be a surefire starter in our offense. He plays tenacious defense. I love everything about him when it comes to, just playing basketball. I think he could be a starter, and he could be a solid starter too. Another very highly known player would be Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady, although he's injury prone, when he's healthy and when he's playing in an offense he can, an offense that he can move around in, he might be one of the best players in isolation. I'd want the Bulls to sign. Sorry, I just realized how off my screen was. Bad. I'd want the Bulls to sign a player like him because that's what we need. We need a guy who can create his own shot off the dribble. And if you can name a player better than him at ball handling in isolation that isn't a superstar, I'd be glad to debate that with you. But yeah, he's a fantastic player, and he's very underrated. And I think he be a good player in the Bulls offense. Um, Now, when it comes to centers, there's been talk after talk for Nazr Muhammad. I don't want Nazr Muhammad. I really, really, really don't. I but let me rephrase that. I don't want Nazr Muhammad if we're not getting another center on the Bulls. I think um, Ian Mahinmi uh, might be our best bet as a backup center. He's cheap, he's young, and but he's experienced. He's 25, but he's had 5 years in the NBA. He can block shots. He plays great defense. He could be better than Ashik if we gave him the time. I don't want them to match the offer presented to Ashik because it's a very expensive and a very devotional signing. If we were to sign him for 3 years for however much money, check that right now, we would be offering him I don't know. I can't find it. Oh, $25 million offer sheet, which is for 3 years. I can't do the math off the top of my head. Call me stupid. I don't know. Hold on. It's pretty sad. I'm going to have to go on my calculator real quick. Yep. So that's $8 million a year. Holy crap. Backup center gets $8 million a year. Starting center probably gets around that much as well. Just a dumb idea. He's not worth that money. He's a good player. He's a good hustle player. He's a role player, though. He's not a starter. The Bulls need to get that in their head. They shouldn't be treating him like a starter because he's not a starter. He can't generate on offense unless he gets a pass under the basket where he can just stick his hands up and dunk it. I mean, I love Omer Ashik, but that's 100% true. The guy can't create his, he has no post moves. None. And that's why they need to just ignore that. They need to ignore the fact that he was a good player, a good defender. Because there's good defenders all over. Just all over the NBA. A lot of talks have been about Jerry Bayless as well, who's a combo guard, but I just don't know if I'd want another point guard in the system. I don't know how much Jared Bayless would want. He's 23 years old. He's got a lot of upside. I just don't know how much he would want. If he were to come on the Bulls for cheap, I'd be glad to welcome him because he's a good player who can add depth to our team. Leandro Barbosa would be a fantastic signing. The guy is fast as can be. Can you imagine Derrick Rose or Marcus Teague with him on the break? I don't think anybody would catch them. I don't think a single player would be in the NBA be able to catch him unless it was John Wall with a 5-step head start. He's just too fast, and he's a good shooter too. I think Leandro Barbosa would be a great signing for now until we can draft a better shooting guard who maybe a little bit more of just a better skill set overall. But yeah, that's part 3. It's my Bulls off-season thing. I don't think I'll add any more to it. If I do, name it part 4. If I think of anything, maybe a part 2 to this free agent one. Part 2 of part 3. That's complicated, but whatever. Yep. So I hope you enjoyed this little series, this off-season series. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening.